Did I read a single one of these? No. Hello lovely people and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today we are going to be talking about every single book I read in March, which was not that many because it was a crazy month and it was not a great reading month. Okay, first let's start off by remembering my March TBR. Wow, so many books. Did I read a single one of these? No. I am the world's worst mood reader and I cannot be told what to read at any point in time of my life, so I did not read a single book on my March TBR, but I'm really hoping when I make my April TBR video that we can choose some books that I would wind up reading anyway and that I can actually achieve my April TBR. It is Aries season. I am an Aries. My birthday is coming up, so let's make April a good month when we do make that TBR. Let's talk about every book that I read in March, which was a total of 5. I know, 5 books is not great, but it's realistic. Let's be realistic. I work a regular 9 to 5. I commute for 3 hours a day, an hour and a half there, hour and a half back, and I don't have a lot of time to read, so don't judge me. We're gonna start off with the first book that I read in March, which was Pucking Around. You know that I love this book so much. I talked about it in my top 5 romances of all time, which I will link down in the description for you guys if you want to know more about this book, but I will talk about it a little bit here. So Pucking Around is about Dr. Rachel Price. She is a physical therapist and she's some other kind of doctor too. She winds up getting a really great opportunity to be a part of a really special fellowship, and she gets assigned to the new hockey team, the Jacksonville Rays in Florida. It is an extremely spicy Why Choose romance. It is her and 3 different guys. Now, this isn't something I thought I was going to like, but oh my god, it was so good. First of all, the spice was spicing. The plot, there was plot. That's always great in a really long, spicy book. This was probably the longest romance book that I've ever read. It was like around 600 pages and it flew by. I did not want it to end. I read it physically and on my Kindle, so I would read it, you know, physically when I was on the couch with my husband or when I had light and could read during the day. And then at night I read it on my Kindle because it's on Kindle Unlimited. I felt like I flew through this and it just has such a special place in my heart. I love all these men, I love Rachel, and I just got Pucking Wild, which is the second one, which is about her best friend Tess, so I'm so excited for that one. I rated this 5 stars. I know a lot of people say that Rachel's annoying, but I don't know, I just got good vibes from it. It was very fun, which I feel like reading should be. It shouldn't always be the best writing or the best plot or the best anything. It just needs to be fun and enjoyable for you. Then I read Pucking Ever After Volume 1, and that is the first novella. It comes between Pucking Around and Pucking Wild. It just dove more into some of the behind the scenes of some scenes, like maybe if we got Rachel and Ilmari's point of view in one scene, then we got Jake and Caleb's in that same scene, but from their point of view. Like it goes over Jake's like ice cream superpower that he says he has, and it goes further into their relationship, like them all getting married and then they have children. So we get to see how their relationship and life develops after the end of Pucking Around. So I was eating it up. I gave that one 4 stars just because the vibes were there. It wasn't perfect. Could it have been more? Yes. But I really liked it, so that one was great. I am so not over my hockey romance era, so that's probably going to be a majority of what I read in April. And now I'm getting into my cowboy romance era. Look at these nails. Gorgeous. She's in her cowboy romance era. The next book that I read was A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This book broke me. I actually started reading it because I watched Sarah Caroli's vlog and she read it and I was like, well, it's not something I would normally read, but let me give it a try. So I started audiobooking it on Spotify and I was like, oh, I don't know, it's okay, but it's not great, but let me keep going because it's just an audiobook. Like, I listen to it while I work, it keeps me entertained, and it was a little hard to follow via audiobook at first because you're like learning all of these characters' names and all of this background information on them. So it's hard to figure out like sometimes who the author is talking about, because it'll just start a chapter and you'll have to pick up on the context clues of like that person, and you'll need to like figure out who it is. So there's a little bit of guesswork when you're listening to the audiobook. But then I wound up really enjoying it about probably only like 10 or 15% of the way through. So then I went and picked up the physical copy at Walmart. And if you don't know what this is about, it is about the life of 4 college best friends. And it just traverses their entire life. It starts when they're about, I'd say around 21 in college, maybe like even 19. It starts when they're about 18, 19. Jude's a little younger, and then it goes all the way until they're in their 50s or 60s. And it just traverses their relationship as friends. It traverses their relationships outside of their friendship. It shows the ups and downs of friendship and how, you know, things can go wrong in a friendship and then you can fix them. It shows relationships just in general. You learn a lot about Jude's trauma, and it's just so sad. I cried so many times reading this book. The ending hurt really bad. Yeah, after I finished the book, it was like 1:30 in the morning, and I finished it with tears in my eyes, and I was just staring at the ceiling for like 5 to 10 minutes afterwards, because I was like, I don't know how to move on from this. And I was seeing that like this book changes you, and I was like, there's no way that a book can like change you like that. Like, not that a book can't change your life. Like, I am one to fully believe that a book can change your life. Aquatar changed my life for forever. But like, people were saying that they look at life differently after reading this book, and I was like, there's no way. It can't be that sad. Like, what can really happen? This book changes your life. It makes you look at life so differently, and there's probably not a day that goes by since I've finished this book that I do not think about these characters. Jude is on my mind every single day, and you know, it just makes you realize that things are happening in the world that like nobody knows about, and like things like this really do happen, and it is soul crushing. It is devastating. I gave it 5 stars because the writing is so elegant and flowy and beautiful and lyrical, and normally I'm not a fan of that. I like very short, quick, snappy writing. But this was just like, you're reading it and you're just flying. You're flying through it. And I read this in a week. I went back and forth between audiobooking and reading it physically. There were some parts where I was like, let me stop audiobooking it. I really want to read that part when I get home, because I was like, I just really want to experience it and remember it so much. It only took me about a week, and this is over an 800-page book. And literary fiction is not my jam. Like, I am a romance, fantasy girl, romantasy, any of that, but I do not pick up literary fiction at all. This made me realize that maybe I do like it. That's why I'm so open to like recommendations, and that's why I love giving like these kinds of recommendations, because even if you don't think you're gonna like it, give it a try. Grab a free audiobook. Spotify has them. You can grab it off of Libby, either audiobook or ebook, and just give it a try. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. But if you wind up liking something, it changes your life and it opens your eyes. Like, I cannot get over that. This book deserves so many awards, so many prizes. I know people said it was trauma dumpy, but I think we have to realize that some people, like, their life is full of traumas, and we need to recognize that things like this actually happen in life and be empathetic towards others. So I think this book teaches you so many lessons. I think this is going to be like a current classic. I know there are heavy topics in this, but I think this would be so beneficial for kids to read. Not kids, I mean like high schoolers, like 18 years old, 17, 18 years old, because it reminds you to be empathetic towards people, because you don't know what's going on in their life. And it reminds you that friendships can change, but you can keep them and that they'll evolve. There's found family. There is just so many immense topics that this book talks about. I could do a whole video on this book, and I'm thinking about doing a full review on this book. If that's something you're interested in, please let me know in the comments, and I can go into a super in-depth review of this book, because I could talk about it for literally hours. I have probably talked my husband's ear off about this book because it's just that good. Like, I have never read something and been like, wow, like, people need to read this. And I will carefully recommend this book, because it's not for everybody. You need to be in the right mental space, because it does hurt. So please check the trigger warnings. Please make sure that you are in the right headspace before you read this book. And not everybody's gonna love it, so please take this book with caution because it is rough. So that's all I have to say about this. If you want a full review, please let me know. I would love to do that for you. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorite books of all time now, which is crazy. My last 2 books were audiobooks that I listened to on Libby, which is an amazing app if you've never heard of it. If you have a library card, you just plug all your information in and you can sign up, and you literally just like check out books like you would normally, but they're ebooks and audiobooks. And the audiobooks are right on the app, and you can listen to them like you do on Spotify, and you have them for 2 weeks once you rent them. Then the ebooks go straight to your Kindle, and you also have them for 2 weeks. So I highly recommend, especially because audiobooks are so expensive. So the next book I read was Never Lie by Frida McFadden. I was really in the mood for a thriller, and normally I audiobook my thrillers just because I save my like physical reading for stuff that like really grabs me, and that's normally, and like stuff I want to remember, like my fantasy and my romance and all of that stuff. So normally I audiobook my thrillers, especially because thrillers normally have really horrible covers, so I don't really buy a lot of thrillers. But yeah, so Never Lie by Frida McFadden. This is my first Frida McFadden book. I have heard that she's super popular, and I've heard a lot of good things about her books. I just saw The Teacher that came out by her, so I was like, you know what, let me give her a try. And this one sounded interesting. So it's basically about this couple that gets stranded in like a mansion house kind of thing in upstate New York during a snowstorm, and they get trapped there because they're going to look at the house for a viewing, you know, to see if they want to buy the house. So they go, and everything feels super creepy. There's food in the fridge. Just everything looks kind of like, there are like signs that a person's been there, but you can tell that nobody's been living there for like more than 3 years. And they find out that this is the house of a super famous psychiatrist, Adrian Hale, who actually writes books about like her patients' experiences. The main female character, Trish, stumbles upon a hidden closet area thing by pulling a book, and it is filled with the tape recordings of all of the sessions of all of her patients from Dr. Adrian Hale. So we get the little like back and forth of like Dr. Adrian Hale. She's emotionless, she's vicious, she has no family, all of that kind of stuff. So we get the experiences through the tapes from Dr. Adrian Hale. I thought that was super interesting. Like that's kind of how we're like looking through the past by listening to these audio recording tapes. So I thought that was really well done. And then the Trish and Ethan, which is the husband and wife, they start to like she kind of starts to like realize that there's somebody like in the house because things are like moving and stuff like that. It just unravels from there. I thought I had the twist perfectly figured out, and I was like, this is so predictable, this is so easy. Boy, was I wrong. I could not have predicted that ending if you paid me. It was so like mind-blowing. Like there were like, I think there were like 2 different twists. Now maybe if I was paying attention more I would have figured it out, but like there were 2 twists that I was just like, where? And then like looking back I was like, oh, I should have seen that coming. So it really got me. But yeah, in the end I gave it 3 stars because I really hated the husband. He was kind of a jerk, and then he got better, and then he got worse. And I really hated the female main character. I don't know why. And I thought it was just weird that like throughout the entire book the husband was just like, yeah, let's like change into this person's clothes that used to live here. Let's just like sleep in their bed. Let's just like take a shower. Let's like do all this stuff. Like he wasn't freaked out at all. And like it was just so weird to me. So the vibes were a little off, but it's fine. The twists really made it for me. So I was really happy about that. So yeah, 3 stars. It wasn't bad. It wasn't the best thriller I've ever read / listened to, but it was really good and it was really engaging, and it kept pushing through the story, so it was really good. The last book that I listened to for this month was The Honeymoon Crashers. So last year I listened to The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, and I hated it. I liked the main characters, Olive and Ethan, and I thought that like the circumstances of them going on her sister's honeymoon was really funny. Like everybody got this like horrible, well, it's not funny in the way that it's like funny, but I thought it was unique. You know, everybody at Amy's wedding, which is Olive's twin sister, they got this food poisoning from a seafood bar, so it was just like really quirky, unique circumstances. So I thought that was really fun. And then, you know, it was your typical enemies to lovers. They hate each other, but they secretly love each other, and they go on this honeymoon and they wind up falling in love in Maui. But what I didn't like was the cheating trope in that book, so that's what threw me off. And I was like, well, this one's a little novella. It's like a quick 5-hour listen. Let me see if I like this one better, and I did. And I really realized that I really like Christina Lauren's writing. I just didn't like the cheating trope in that book. So I'm really excited to also try out Love and Other Words by her, because I know everybody's obsessed with that book. So I think it was just the trope that threw me, not her as a writer. So yeah, anyway, getting back to the honeymoon crashers. So Olive and Ethan from the previous book are getting married and they're eloping. And if you didn't read the Unhoneymooners, you know that Amy and Olive have a super tight-knit Spanish family, and that, you know, they spend a lot of time with them. So the fact that Olive is eloping is like kind of insane to them. So Amy decides to fly the entire family out to Maui, which is where they're eloping, and she starts planning a wedding, and Olive is forever grateful, which I was so happy about. There was no like stupid miscommunication trope in this. It was just all very fun and fleshed out. And I love the Maui, like Hawaii setting. I wish there was a little more of it in there, but still really well done. So Amy is planning this wedding by herself on an island that she's unfamiliar with, and she loves a great deal. So she's trying to do all these things by herself, and it's like hard for her. So Ethan, his best man, is going to be his best friend Brody. And so he sends Brody to help Amy plan the wedding, because he's a local there. He has lived there for a couple months, and he's lived there before as well. He kind of knows his way around the island. It's kind of more like friends to lovers, forced proximity, because they're forced to spend time with each other, you know, planning this wedding. And then he's got charm and charisma, so she winds up falling for him. And I won't say more because it's a really enjoyable, really adorable book. I gave it 4 stars. I would say if you didn't like the Unhoneymooners, to try the Honeymoon Crashers, because it really was so sweet. I liked Amy more than I liked Olive, and it was a fully voice acted book. I thought that was so much fun. There was different voices for every single character. There was sound effects, like if the phone rang, like the phone actually rang, and then there was like the pickup noise and then the other person's voice. And then if there was like music or something, like music would be playing in the background while they were like dancing or something, and like there was like the ocean background noises. So I would really recommend listening to the audiobook. It was really, really good. I had the time of my life listening to it. And again, I didn't love the first one, so give this one a try, and give Christina Lauren another try if you didn't like the Unhoneymooners, because that book was trash, because cheating is trash. I can go more into that in another video, because the cheating trope, it really gets me. There's something in my brain that hates it, as everyone probably does. I know some people don't mind it, but it gets me, and it will make me hate a book for forever. Those were the 5 books that I read in March. We're gonna really hope that the April TBR goes a lot better, because the fact that I did not read a single book off of my March TBR is wild. And I'm sorry if you guys hate me for that, but I'm telling you, I'm a terrible mood reader. I will literally see that somebody read a book like once and loved it, and I'll be like, I need to read that book now. And I think that A Little Life put me in the worst like book hangover reading slump ever. So I just like could not get into anything after that. So I went right to audiobooks and familiar things, and now I'm in my cowboy romance era, so we're just being thrown all around over here. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe if you want more bookish content. I really am grateful for you guys being here all the time. It makes me so happy. Yeah, if you're still watching, comment what your favorite book you read in March was. I'd love to have a discussion about it. And as always, thank you for watching. Bye!